Archetype, the shortest way I would describe it is a blueprint for a part of us or an idea. So the easiest one, right? If you think about a mother, you kind of have a feeling, a somatic feeling. You can describe, right? Nurture, etc., etc. Even if you particularly didn't have a healthy mother, right? You could still describe an archetype of a mother. So I will be talking about the wild self. Some of you may have heard about Women Who Run with the Wolves. Clarissa did not totally coin the wild woman archetype, but she wrote this Bible in 1992. There are some differences for men and women, I would say. So I have taken what's in the middle, what applies to everyone, and we'll be using the terminology of wild self to make sure everyone's included. I invite you all to go and read more about it. There are things for men, and again, there's a little bit of a different flavor, but enough of similarities. So, who here has heard of internal family system or parts work?
Or what?
Parts work?
Parts,
yeah. So that is the idea. Another recommendation is watching Inside Out, a Pixar cartoon. They actually went to the person who, sorry, I'm bad with names, who made this theory, and they made this kids movie based on IFS. So in 2015, all the therapists in training went to go see it. And so this is the idea that instead of just one being in our mind, there's different parts of us, right? So shadow is one of them. I'd like to believe, if you can imagine an iceberg, right? The bottom part of the iceberg that's in the ocean is the unconscious. And what really resonates with me is that there's different parts to the unconscious. And the shadow is one part of it, but the wild self is another. The shortest and to the point way of defining the wild self would be, it is the part of us that is connected to our intuition, to our soul. It knows all the answers to all of our questions, and its roots are in the unconscious. And children, if you have the pleasure of having children in your life, their wild selves are very in the conscious realm, before the world kind of takes that away from them, right? They'll meet a person and without any reason, I don't like them, don't touch me. They don't need an explanation, right? Because they're listening to their wild self, their intuition. Now, for many different reasons, as we grow up, as we age, that connection gets severed. So a lot of the work that could do a lot of healing for us is connecting with our wild self. I will be trying to be mindful of time. I have went through Dark Night of the Souls earlier this year, and the messaging was to connect with my wild self. I had read The Woman Who Run with the Wolves 7 years ago, and then she literally called me from my bookshelf. And a lot of the things that are in this book, I mean, you can do like people do year courses on this. So this will be a very short introduction, what we're gonna do today. Hannah Kent, about the word wild, in her book Burial Rites, says, wildness is not a lack of civilization, it's an excess of spirit that cannot be contained. So when we say wild, right, I wonder what comes up for you. What's an image of wild? Someone pointed to. Children with sugar.
Children with sugar?
Yes. Wild. What else?
I have one. I feel like when I think of that word, I picture myself just absolutely free. Just like running outside, just freedom.
freedom. What else?
Uncombed hair.
Ooh, yes, uncombed hair. That has a little feral energy.
And some dirt in there.
Be on the lookout. I'm cooking up a workshop on the feral woman. There'll be some mud for sure involved. Anyone else? Wild. So it's interesting, right? Because exactly what you said, I think a lot of people, especially if we went to Harvard University and said, what does wild mean to you, right? I'm stereotyping here. But uncombed hair, right? There's something kind of negative, uncivilized. Some more things for you to help conceptualize what the wild self is a connection to the source of being, to your soul, living authentically.
Untethered.
Untethered. Ooh. Can you say a little more about that?
We talk about shadow work and different conditioning, different bondages, different motions, preconceived motions, different belief systems. For me, untethered means being aware of all that and have grace and direction to discriminate.
Yes. So one of the points that I will speak in a second, well, I'll say it now actually, is cycles. And it kind of reminds me of what you're saying, is that not getting attached to, I'm only going to meditate, and that'll be the only way I get in touch, right? Maybe 1 week you're meditating, the next week you need to go and get hugs from people. The next week you need to do a floating tank thing. So I do like that word, untethered. So connecting to cycles. Being connected to your soul, but also what it needs. Our wild self knows when we need time alone, when we need time in community, and we can give ourselves really good excuses. They can be really legit. I don't have childcare. I need to go to work today. But what happens if you own the fact that your wild self is telling you you need this, and you follow that, and you give yourself that need? The wild self also invites us to feel our pain, address its source, and to stand still, reflect, and accept as well as transmute our experiences. We didn't practice any of this, but it kind of, everything that everyone said before me felt like building the stage to what I'm going to kind of ask you to do, which is connect to your wild self. So surrender. While I was going through my experience, that was for me the biggest thing, to just do this. To the point where this whole summer I have not said the sentence, I'm definitely going anywhere, because all my summer plans have kept changing. So I've just surrendered to the higher power having different plans, right? So that's kind of the first step to connecting with your wild self, is to surrender to the fact that you have all the knowledge inside of you already. Then working through the shame about maybe not liking uncombed hair, maybe not liking mud, maybe not liking untethered energy because it doesn't feel safe at first, right? Working through the shame, owning that you are who you are, and loving all the parts, even if they're yucky and mucky. And then finishing with the trusting your intuition, trusting that connection. So what I will do is have us do do you have any questions? Am I making any sense? Yes? No questions? So I've been pointing to here, I don't know if you've noticed, but I invite you to not just see me, right, throughout this practice, because maybe your wild self lives in your left shoulder. Maybe your wild self lives, I don't know, in your kneecap. we don't know. We're gonna figure it out. Also, we might not figure it out because it's gonna be a little bit time restraining. So go in with an open energy, and if nothing comes up, then I can chat with you after and see if I have any advice if you want to deepen this practice. So we will start with a body check-in, and then I will lead you through a little, I don't know if anyone's heard of focusing. It's kind of like an active meditation. We're going to clear the space, and then come face to face with our wild self. I will ask you to step into your wild self, and then we will move. Throughout this experience, I'm going to ask you not to talk. Another thing I will ask you is to give yourself permission to make sounds. Whether it's, and we're going to practice that with the first couple breaths, growling, whatever comes out, right? I think we can all agree that this can be a safe container. What comes in the container stays in the container, and same with movement. If you want to crawl on the grass, do it. You want to just lay there, do it. My prompt will be to allow your wild self to move through you, like move your body, right, or express itself. But if the expression is laying on the ground, trust it. That's what you need in this moment. Any questions for the movement part? And I am going to ask for people not to dance together, so staying in the bubble, okay? And noticing somatic things, noticing any energetic centers, again, I point here, but for you it might be here, wherever. All right. Could everybody? Mm-hmm.
So are we just gonna? So is this the dancing or?
It's gonna move through. Okay. So we're gonna start with a check-in. We're gonna have you go through different body parts. How are they feeling? A little mindfulness, really short, a couple minutes, and then move into movement. Okay. But I will tell you. If people want to, maybe taking off your shoes, that feels good to you.
Cool. And I'll be recording like this, so anyone who does not want to be recorded, just don't be in this cone. Okay, cool.
Everyone ready? So standing up. Feel free to close your eyes if that feels safe. If it doesn't, focus on a point on the ground that's not moving. Can everyone in the back hear me? We're going to start with 3 slow, deep breaths. And again, on the exhale, I invite you to make sounds, okay? In through the nose. And out. In through the nose, filling up your lungs completely. And out. One more. In through the nose. And out. Bring your awareness to your head and notice how it's feeling. Don't go into the story of why or how you're going to fix it. Just notice how your head is feeling. Move your awareness to your neck and throat. Is there any tension, any space? Shoulders, arms, hands, chest, abdomen, your back, hips and pelvic area, your legs, and your feet. Now bring your attention to your mind and envision it as a house. Walk into the house and notice any worries or concerns that are standing in the way of you being fully present in this moment. One by one, put these worries and concerns into rooms and close the door. You can assure these worries that you'll tend to them later. Find your way into the living room. Take a seat on the couch. And for a few moments, enjoy the cleared space. No worries, no concerns. Begin making your way towards the door to the basement. Open the door and begin descending down the stairs. Notice that the lights aren't bright, but are just the right amount of brightness. Once you get to the bottom of the stairs, you see your wild self. Take a moment, walk around your wild self. How are they different? How are they the same as you? Come face to face with your wild self. Take a confident step into them. Become one. If your eyes have been closed, gently open them, but keep your gaze on the ground. Take a second to adjust. And now begin walking, exploring the ground, noticing how your body feels. Begin raising your eyes and noticing your surroundings. Has your perception shifted? Which part of your body needs to start moving? Your head, your shoulders, give your wild self permission to guide your movement. Remember, there's no wrong or right. There's just is. Take a minute or a moment to come back in to your body, fully present. One thing I'd like to share before passing it off is I purposefully chose a song that wasn't very and the reason for that is reading upon other things, other material. A lot of things were saying, that the wild part has to be kind of spicy, has to be have that kind of energy, and that's not true. For some of us, that might be the wild self. I think that is a part of the wild self, a part within a part. The feral part that comes out when people mess with us. But the wild self can be gentle. You can gently say no. You can gently say, I'm going, right? And I think when we're beginning to do work with our wild self, it might be a little intimidating to expect that breakness. So that was behind my choice of music. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks so much. That was great.